Love is Blind, the season 9. These next 3 episodes were just released, and we need to talk about it. There's so much gold and so much trash. It's so good. Okay, so Nick, I continue to not like Nick, and it's crazy because we met his parents, and they're so lovely and so nice. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're so wonderful. And usually, when the parents are so wonderful, the kid is great. You would think that. But something about Nick, I think the way that he had navigated everything with Kate and then with Annie, and it just felt like I just don't trust him. He lost my trust. And when he speaks, I just find him to be slimy and not trustworthy. And so it might be an emotional, maturity thing. But something about him, I just feel like Annie needs to say bye bye. But Annie is feeling like Nick isn't all in because Nick straight up said, "Oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to say at the altar." And she's like, "I decided, like, I'm all in." And she's upset that he's not. And he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to say," he said. So she's like, "I don't need you. I don't need you." So she starts to kind of get, her guard up. And I get what she's saying too. And I agree. You don't need a man, but you want someone. But the way that she's saying is showing that she doesn't want to be vulnerable. She doesn't like the feeling of, you're not making me feel safe and secure. You're saying you don't know what you're going to say at the altar. So now the guard is coming up, and you could feel it with Annie when she's like, "I don't need you. Let me make it clear." And so the way that she's speaking to him is going to push him even further away. So, at the end of the day, I actually support that because I'm not a fan of Nick. Like, I just don't think they're it for each other. But either way, we got to keep watching and see what happens. I love Sparkle Megan. I continue to love her. And, she's just so sweet in thinking about Lucas, Jordan's son. And she's thinking about her love language and how she would buy him a gift. And Jordan's like, "Okay, that's great. But like, you don't have to go like crazy buying $100 Lego." And so she's like, "Okay, like there's, I love how they're communicating. I love Jordan's emotional maturity and intelligence. But when he drinks, like at that party that happened and Jordan got shit faced, like that's when he slips into man child. And I'm like, oh God, what's going to happen?" But he did, like I mentioned before, Megan communicated to him and said, "I don't like that." So I just have to keep seeing, and this is what you should like take into account as you're dating. Someone could have a slip up. No one's perfect, but you have to keep seeing how they continue to show up. How are their actions? Are their actions aligning to their words? Like, for example, Joe, like he showed he was a complete idiot when he got shit faced at the party. He was like, "I wasn't drunk." And I'm just like, he's just lacking a lot of awareness. And then he finally admits that he was shit faced to the guys. And then he feels he's giving to me like gaslighter, like, "Oh, what do trying to flip it on Madison." And then Joe starts to show more of that, like not ready when he's like, "I'm scared," or "This is hard. It's hard." He said, "It's hard." And Madison's like, "What's hard? Oh my gosh, this is great. And I'm loving living with you. And I know what I signed up for." And like Madison's just a very confident, secure woman. And I love that about her. And Joe's freaking out that Madison's not freaking out. And so this is where they're not aligned. And it's so clear to me from my perspective, and let me know if you see it too, if it's like, oh, Joe wants, like, Joe's not sure what the hell he wants. And, Madison's like, "Don't you know what you signed up for? You signed up for this." And so I feel like that's going to be a hell no at the altar. Like from Joe. I think Madison would have said yes, because she's just so like committed. But Joe, on the other hand, no, not so much. I did see an interview with Madison, something in one of the other podcasts. And Madison said that, when Joe told her behind the scenes about, she's not his type, he likes more petite women. Madison said she had never thought about like her body like not being good enough. Like she's always felt good in her own skin. And she said on this interview that it led her to have an eating disorder. And she's okay now, but like my heart breaks for that. Like honestly, but I remember going out with guys before my husband where they would, like, when they're insecure in themselves, they, like, when I was confident and secure, they felt like they had to bring me down. And they would, say comments about me and my body or whatever, like I'm too much or whatever. I remember one guy, "Oh, if I can change one thing about you, it would be like the fat on your legs, on the back of your thighs or something like that." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I'm Cuban, I'm Latina, I have an ass. Like, get out of here. But I remember it got in my head. And so I do feel like these kind of comments, now it didn't lead me to have an eating disorder, but I do know that when people make comments like this, especially someone that you love and you feel like this is your partner, and they're saying something like that, it could totally mess with your self-esteem and how you look at yourself, and are you good enough? And so this is why it's so very important to choose a partner that's really secure in himself and in themselves, and they know what they want, they know their own worth, and they want to find that partner where they can do life together and shine together, right? But Joe doesn't give that energy to me. He doesn't feel like a secure guy that, is at that level. And so when he sees Madison, feeling secure, feeling confident, it's freaking him out. And he's makes him look at himself and feel like, oh my God, I'm not enough. And so what's he gonna do? Try to bring her down. Ew. Like, I can't with Joe. I can't. I'm like dying for Madison to say bye bye to him already. Okay, we got to speak about Anton and Allie, you guys. Oh my goodness. Anton, like, I think I'm gonna call him like a mosquita muerta, a mosca muerta. In Spanish, they say kind of like the person that seems like a really nice guy, everything's great, but like behind the scenes, like not so great. And why? Allie finds out from Anton's friend's girlfriend that he has gone to strip clubs. That's what he does for fun. They go all the time. And Anton never told Allie any of this. So when Allie asked him, like, hey, is that true? You mentioned that your friend was like the trouble, but not you. He's like, oh, that was a long time ago. I'm not sure if I can trust Anton. I just feel like the vibe of someone who goes to strip clubs, like the way that the girl was talking about it, I'm like that, like one time here and there you go to bachelor party, whatever. But the way that the girl was talking about it, like how he's all about strip clubs and all these, that energy, that vibe doesn't feel aligned to what Allie's looking for by any means. And honestly, like, I completely agree. I'm not a fan of, oh yeah, a guy going to strip club all the time, and that doesn't feel good to me, for many reasons, and that'll be like another podcast episode. But like, so that's one huge red flag where I'm like, it's gonna be bye bye time. But the other problem that's super important to like notice, Allie doesn't want to work. And like Allie's gonna go, I think, do her master's, she said. And he wants her to clean, and like if you do dinner, you clean and things like that. And they're just not aligned. They're talking about things you do at home. She's like, I don't want to clean. That's not a priority for me. I have to study, I have to do things. But then at the end of the day, also, she's like, hey, do you make enough for both of us? And he's like, yeah, I've got you. And he's like, we have to budget. And she's like, well, what about my Botox? And so she's like, oh, can we have separate accounts so you don't see what I'm spending? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a huge red flag. And Anton, you can see it on his face. He's like, oh shit, like, this is a high maintenance girl. I have to take care of her. And I am not feeling good for Allie with this either. Like, for you too, like any woman out there, if you're getting into a relationship wanting to be like needing them to take care of your shit, like, that's not at all where I want you to be. Like, I want you to be able to take care of all the things that you want to do, not have to depend on anybody. Like, I want you to be a freaking badass, like complete, all on your own, happy about your life, taking care of your own bills, not needing anyone to pick up your bills. And this is what I'm feeling from Allie. Allie's just like, I want someone to take care of me. I don't want to work. And so that, and this is, let me say this too, though. If you guys were a team doing life together and you decide to have kids, and then she wants to be a stay-at-home mom, that's a different thing. That's a different energy. But that's not what's happening in that conversation. It's more like Allie's like, I don't want to work. I want you to take care of me and pay all the bills. And that's her mindset. And if Anton wants to be that for her, okay. I just don't feel like that's going to be healthy for that relationship or for any relationship, because I think that Anton might be judging or might want to control her. It's like, no, you can't buy this, you can buy that. That's going to be massive financial problems and arguments. At the end of the day, you want to be independent, be able to take care of yourself, not have to depend on someone. And then you have like overflow, abundance, and you both can make money. I just feel like Allie is in that old school thinking of like, oh my God, I'm just like, this woman that needs to take care of me. And I'm like, Allie, what the fuck? What are we talking about here? That's just not where my mindset's at all. It just, and I don't think it's serving Allie. What I see for Allie would be amazing is if Allie finds something that lights her up, that she loves to do for work, kills in her everyday life, and she finds a partner that is also abundant and wants to provide for her and take care of her. And like, oh, awesome, but she doesn't need it. Do you get what I'm saying? So there's just a different energy there. And so what's happening right now, and Anton's like judging what she does with her money and all this kind of weird stuff, it's feeling not good. It's like, okay, this is my buy time. So like basically everyone is not gonna make it. I think my money so far is literally only on Megan and Jordan. That's it. And I have to say this. When Megan went house shopping and they're like looking at, like, I think it was like a $2 million house. Oh my gosh, like Jordan's eyes, like bless him, he's so cute. He's like, oh my gosh, like this house, like wow. And I love what he said. He's like, I don't want to hold her back. Like I want her to have everything she wants. So like he can't pay for it, and he explains that to her. And she has like a 1.5 million place in LA. She's gonna sell it, and then she's gonna put it into a house here in Denver. And she's like, okay, for the other part, we can get a loan together, 500,000. And he's like, yeah, no, like keeping it real. He's being honest. And so like, let's see what Megan does from that point forward. But I do appreciate that Jordan doesn't make as much money as Megan, but he is like a very secure man. And he's like, I want Megan to be happy, and I'll do whatever she wants to do. And I'll bring to the table whatever I can bring. There are insecure men out there that are not making as much money as their partner, and they can be intimidated by it. They can be insecure, and they could be like, oh no, I'm not man enough. And they are going to block anything like that. They're like, no, we're going to live in this place because that's what I can afford. And he doesn't have that energy, which I really appreciate that with Jordan. But it's Megan. Now, this is a question for Megan. Is Megan going to be okay being the breadwinner, the one that's taking care of the bills and all this stuff? Like, I'm going to be honest with you, like, truly, I remember, talking to Will, my husband, about it. And I was like, yeah, like, I know that there's men that stay at home and they're like the stay at home dad. But like, for me, I find it very attractive when the man is in that provider state too, and he's making money and I'm making money. There's moments in our relationship in the past 17 years of marriage where I am making more than him, and he's not insecure at all by it. And he's like, oh my gosh, of course. And he celebrates me. He's always like helping me level up, and vice versa. There's moments that he's making a lot more and I'm taking risks, and he's covering me, and he's, and I'm not making anything. There's been things throughout the years where at the end of the day, you're a team and you show up for each other and you're both expanding together. And it's not feeling like one person is taking the load the entire time. And I think that is what could happen with Jordan, where I think Jordan and Megan are going to have each other's back. I feel like that's where it could go, where they're a team. They're communicating really well. They're both emotionally intelligent, and they're like, this is what I can do. This is what you can do. Let's do this together. And so I am rooting for them. Like, I feel like that's the only couple that I could see saying yes at the altar. And like the last couple that I'm just like, oh my gosh, I can't, is KB and Edmund. KB's a badass. I just don't get why she's with Edmund. It just doesn't feel like he's at her level. And I mean, what I mean by that, just to be clear, is that there's a lot of insecurities with Edmund. And KB is a badass, very confident, secure woman. And so I think that, for you, when you are finding your partner, you're being intentional, a secure partner has to be on your list, has to be on there. And that means you got to be secure, and you have to then make sure that the person that you're dating is also secure in themselves, right? I don't see KB and Edmund at the same level. I feel like he keeps comparing himself to everybody and what all the other couples are doing. And he's just the energy about him. It's so unattractive. Like, I feel like, KB, why don't you see it? Like, I don't understand how KB is still with him, because it seems like she's like a person that's not, I'm not going to tolerate bullshit, but then she hasn't broken it off with him. So I'm like, okay, maybe she's going to play it out and get to the altar and say no. I can't imagine her saying yes. Like, I feel like that would be a mistake, honestly. Unless Edmund has some crazy turnaround, I have no idea. Like, anything's possible. This experiment is so intense, and you could feel people like really shifting. So I am on the edge of my seat. I'm going to see what happens this week with the next episodes they release. But let me know what you think. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, it has to be crazy love or nothing. Until next time. Thank you.